The new ORTUR Lasermaster 3 is finally out, and I was lucky that Made the Best was able to get me one to test out here. And this is how it comes. It's really well packed, like everything that they make. And it's a whole new design. There's a real sleek looking design this time. And there you can see how everything's packed in there. I'm not going to do a complete unpacking of it, but as always with all the ORTUR products, well packed to prevent damage during shipping. And there's also a a good manual showing you the parts that you should have. And this is the heart of it. It's a 10-watt output blue laser diode. And you can see they really did a good job on the cables. Really well made. Looks like the last hardware kit with very few only 4 screws really to assemble it. Really easy. And they do give you a little card there on a USB drive that you plug in your computer for all the instructions. And they are the first one that got the color of the glasses correct. The orange is usually the color that you use for these blue lasers. So that's pretty much what it looks like. And what they did is they took and they were able to use the those same like 3D printer wheels and sleek down the design and lower it and make it a real nice looking little package. And it does have a switch there, so you can leave the rotary attached along with a place to plug it in. And ORTUR Made the Best did send me a Diwali rotary that's made to work with this. It's direct plug and play with this and many other of the lasers. And then on Prime Days I did buy another one of these air pumps. I got it for like 50% off, so figured I'd grab one rather than taking the other one out of my other laser. And then Made the Best also sent me a Diwali, a new fan that they've come out with to use for when I build my enclosure. Now if you plug that USB drive in there, you can see the complete assembly instructions here. They list all the hardware and parts and really good instructions for putting it together, so I'm not really going to go through the assembly that much. ORTUR does have a couple videos out there if you need help with it, but I doubt you will. Basically only 1 screw in each corner to put it together. So this is kind of how it goes. You can see that you flip it upside down and there's a front, back, left hand and right hand. So you attach 2 sides to the back with 1 screw. Everything lines up perfect. And then the X carriage slides right in place there. And everything seemed to be adjusted perfectly from the factory on the X carriage here and the way the wheels fit. Then you just flip it upside down and put the 2 screws in to hold the front on there. And there is 1 cable. You do have to run down the extrusions there. It's kind of hid inside there, but it's real nice to have it protected like that. So that's that's the most part of the assembly right there. Then they did copy the X-Tool D1 with using full round belts on here with an idler and a adjustment screw, which is another great feature to allow you to tension them properly. So there's just a sprocket in the back, and then you attach this idler pulley in the front that has a little set screw that goes in, and that adjusts tension on the belt. There's a little mark there that you try to shoot for, and make sure it's not too tight or too loose. But once you get it feeling pretty good, just snug it down. And then the belt just snaps into a molded piece to lock it to the X carriage. Now this does have Wi-Fi on it, and I'll go through that a little bit later. I didn't have a whole bunch of luck with it, but it does have the Wi-Fi with the antenna, and that's all supposed to be working good in the next couple of updates, I think. Then there are 2 stop screws. They did away with limit switches, which I really don't like, and they put hard stop screws that it bangs into, and I'll show you that a little bit later. And then the laser module. Now this is the same module that I upgraded my LM2 with a little while back, And it's just an amazing laser. It just works perfect. Has the air assist built into it, and I think they really did a good job on this one. Even though they're playing catch up and coming from behind, I think they probably have the best 10-watt laser out there now. And there's a little shield that just protects your eyes. And that just slides right in there. Now there also is a little focus arm that slips down too. Now, as with everything I get, I usually void the warranty by modifying it to start out, and I decided to add a couple holes down the side of this extrusion for some more tie wraps, so I could get the cables under control. So I drilled like four additional holes, and I started running all the air tube in for the air assist. You can see it plugs right into the laser head there. It's all, incorporated right in the head. And then you just have to figure out how to tie it back without putting any stress on it. Then back to the manual for it. Now it's on that little drive, but I actually printed it out so I could go through a page at a time to try to get everything working. And again, there you can see that rotary direct plug-in, and there's a little switch there so you can leave it plugged in and decide whether you want to use rotary or not. So that's that'll be another video where I show you how this works together. Right now I'm just kind of going over the box opening and first project. So there you can see, I got the cables pretty much routed in the air lines and stuff, so there's no interference. Everything moves smoothly. Looks like it's going to have no problem there. And I did drill a couple holes to put some more tie wraps in there. And this does come with a key switch. You can turn it off, an EMO switch, and there's also a sensor in there for movement that will shut it down if there's a problem. So I'm gonna, run my first test in here, and this is the first time I started it up. Everything seems to be running good, but I am running at the higher end of their speed. It's going to do 20,000 millimeters a minute, and you can see at the higher end, I can't really get a dark burning. This is more for photos and stuff, I guess. So I can say that I will run at the speed that they rate it, but it's really not useful. And there I backed it down to 10,000 millimeters a minute, and you can see I get much better results. Now this is what I was telling you about the limit switches. They removed limit switches on this machine, and they just use stops that they bang into, and I guess they sense current feedback from the motors to home it, which I really, I don't know, I guess I don't really like that, so I actually turned the homing feature off in the Gerbil. And I'm just going to just move it to where I want it. Apparently there's some settings you can change to, change how it bangs into things and stuff, but that's what they do for the homing now. Now the app I did not have good luck with. I tried connecting to my home network at first, and the app could not find it on my network. Could not find the LM3. So then I went through and I did a direct Wi-Fi connect to the ORTUR, and I was able to get one section of the app working that creates a QR code. It's the only thing that would work. Beside the control, you can control it manually, but I was not able to send any artwork or anything to the laser. It would just die. The Wi-Fi would disconnect about 50% of the way through. So here you can see. Now I've been told that there are updates coming, and apparently not many people have used this yet. And it could be something with my network too, the settings or something like that. But anyhow, I'm not going to do any more with this app until I, get new updates. Okay, so now I'm going to mess with some other stuff. I'm making a cutting board for my wife, and I'm just trying to figure out the speed I want to run the text at. And this is plywood I'm just starting with, and I started at the higher end. Actually, this was 15,000 millimeters a minute. I started at it. Came out nice, but it just wasn't dark enough for what I wanted, and I backed down to 10,000 at 100% power, and you can see right there it's looking good. So that's going to be my starting point when I go to the cherry. And then I decided, okay, let's just see how small a text we can go with this thing, and have it be good quality text. So started playing on that plywood. Finally, I went to one of those little business cards that come with it, and here you can see I was able to get right down to, I think that's about 1.5 millimeters. See that compared to a pencil point. And really nice, clear, crisp text that you could read easily. So I'm like, okay, let's cut that in half and see what we get. And again, you got clear, crisp text. Well, actually, the camera's a little out of focus, but it was something that you could read, and really nice, fine lines and stuff. So this thing will do a great job on, little text, if that's what you want to do with it. And next I grabbed a piece of 14 millimeter poplar. Everybody likes to see how these things cut, and I decided I was going to make some spacers to go under the rubber feet, because if you look on the left there, you can see that motor is in the way of that honeycomb grid that I have. This is the grid from my other laser, and apparently made the best, coming out with a new thinner grid made specifically for this laser. And they don't have it yet, so I'm waiting to get that. But in the meantime, I figured, well, I'll just cut some spacers, because ORTUR is actually supposed to be coming out with a leg kit to raise it up so you can use the rotary too. So, for now, I'm just going to cut a couple 14 millimeter spacers from poplar wood and use that to get it up so I can use this grid. And you can see it's doing a good job at cutting it. Doing 3 passes here at 100% power and 100 millimeters a minute. And for some reason, I upgraded Lightburn. They just had a new version out, and I'm getting a second line. I've got to go turn that off. But you can see, did a good job. Took out all the center holes there easily. Now the outside of the feature just about cut all the way through, but they're not going to push out easy. Didn't quite make it. Probably could have done one more pass. And one thing I did notice is the cut is such a fine cut that you have to push the piece out perfectly straight, otherwise it'll bind in there. But you can see I cut the 14 millimeter poplar with basically 3 passes, and I could have gone a little bit slower, I think, and gotten a perfect cut, but for now they'll be good for the raising it up. And there I had some longer M4 screws, and you can see them putting that up under the foot, and that'll do the job. Basically, I just wanted to show you that, this is a soft wood, and it cut over 1/2 inch thick, no problem. So I got the 4 and M spaced up, and everything's ready, so I can move that grid over a little bit and get ready to do my wife's final project there. And again, there's 3 passes, 100% power, 100 millimeters a minute. And that A7, the Atom Stack A7, took 10 passes at the same power and speed level. So you can see this is a much better laser than the Atom Stack makes. And now I'm getting ready to do my wife's cutting board there. And I grabbed a piece of cherry to just do some final testing on, because I like to do that on the wood I'm using, because each wood has different characteristics when you engrave it. But you can see the cherry actually gets like a little overburn around the edge. And I can't do anything to get rid of that. The air assist is on full. It's just the minerals and the sap in the wood that kind of cause that from what I'm seeing. And I make sure that I go deep enough when I engrave that I can just go back and sand that off. But there's what it looks like. Beautiful job on everything. And then I'll just go back and hit it with the sander quick, and there you can see how that cleans it right up. And no matter how hard I try with cherry, I always get that. You know, I don't get it with other woods, but could be something about just the wild cherry. So here it is. My wife wanted a breadboard, a cutting board for bread on one side with her favorite bread recipe on the other side. So this is the start of it. I got a piece of a little bit over about 7.5 millimeter thick cherry that I prepared. Now this grew in our backyard, and I sawed it up and dried it. So, you know, it's been around for a while. And here I am, you know, it's engraving. You can see I do get a little bit of that black around the edges there. And there's no way I can get rid of it. The air assist is turned fully up, and it's just something that I get with cherry. So everything's coming out beautiful. No problem, no glitches, nothing. And then here's that second line that went back to put on that light burn I had turned on when I upgraded. Well, that caused me some problems. It shook around the machine, and luckily it was just a real light line, so I could sand it off. But you can see it got going so fast that the machine just shook itself. So I had to go back and line it up again, and then cut the outside of it. And I'm doing 2 passes on this. 100% power, 100 millimeters a minute. And I am starting to get a little bit of smoke in the house here. My wife's kind of getting mad at me and telling me she's going to kick me out of the house if I don't cut it out. So this is going to be my last project with it for today. You see I got that big Diwali fan going, and my other 2 vent fans going, and still getting smell in the house. So I'm going to have to build an enclosure for this one too before I do any more. But, you know, this is how it came out. Now that was 2 passes. This was a very hard cherry. Just about cut it all the way through except for 2 sections, 2 spots on the vertical cut there. Now I'm not sure if it's because the beam gets thinner that way or what. But it also looks like there's some sap in the wood in that area too, with a different grain pattern. So it could be because of that. So I probably should have done one more time around, but it really doesn't matter to me because I'm going to sand that a little bit anyway. So if I have a little bit of a, you know, thing there to stand off, no problem. But you can see it did cut beautiful. Real nice, smooth cut, clean cut. And everything looks good. I just went over and sanded around the edge, put a little radius on there, sanded the face a little bit, and there it is, all done. Ready. I'm going to put a couple coats of walrus oil on it next, and that'll be it. So you can see it's just like a 15-minute project. You know, it did come out with a really nice, beautiful little cutting board. So this is the first look at the Lasermaster 3 from ORTUR, and you know, as with all their machines, it's a real solid working machine. You know, it didn't really have many problems out of their box, and the only thing is the Wi-Fi, which they've never really gotten that part worked out on the other ones either, so we'll wait and see how they do on that. But they did do a good job, and one thing about ORTUR is they have the best support of any of these laser companies. So, you know, you never have to worry about buying a product from them. Everything, really, they'll take care of any problems that exist. And I do have, you know, that fan I'll be making an enclosure with in the future. And hopefully the Wi-Fi will be working better. Here's a little better look of how I tied those cables in that air hose up. You can see where I drilled those holes to put the tie wraps in. Kind of neatens it up a little bit, and it'll let me make a smaller enclosure. And the honeycomb, like I said, I'm waiting for the right one to come. But for now, with those spacers, this one does work. So there's how it comes packed. You know, everything's really packed well. And I think I got the first one that was in the United States. And, you know, all the parts are there. Really well made, high quality, went together easy, no problems assembling. Everything worked right out of the box. So, you know, I'm going to say this is really a great alternative if you're looking to get into this 10-watt range laser. And I'll put some links to the Made the Best website for the parts. And I'm supposed to be getting a $100 off coupon if you pre-order this too. So I'll have that shortly. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe.